down. Stafford wants Nakua again. Makes the adjustment, and he's inbounds. Here's the fade. Looking downfield for Smith. Powers caught it. You gotta be kidding.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy, Raider Rob, right here. You now tune in to League Chat, where we talk about all things, the things around the NFL. This ain't just Raider Nation football. We still football guys at the end of the day. Y'all know who I got with me. I got my guest, my man right here, Uncle Daddy. Whoa! Look who we got! Bum, bum, bum. Special sighting right here. Shout out to the man showing up, a.k.a. Stephonn Branch Huddle. We got Uncle Daddy, we got a special guest. We got a guest.
I see, but is he dressed like the old school New Edition?
I mean, we don't know. He might be on location somewhere. The man just got back from Korea. You never know. He might be learning his Vietnamese or Mandarin or Korean. I don't know what language. I'm sorry if I'm chop sueying your shit up. So, what's going on, Stephonn?
What's up, fellas? I'm trying to get this camera to work. Give me a second.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna keep rolling like how we doing, baby. You listen, guys. Appreciate you guys for joining the show today. We got a good show for you guys coming up, man. Listen, I ain't dropped a league check video in a while. Just want to be pretty proactive about this one because there's some good things. There's some good things that's news around the NFL that we're gonna chop in today. But if you're new to the channel, give your boy a like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We drop videos, man. And if you're a Raider fan, you already tuned in to me. We already know what it is. So, first and foremost, Uncle Daddy, how you doing? What's going on, man?
I'm good, bro. What you know?
I know there's a lot going on right now that I did not know about. So, I want to touch bases on some of that. Right?
I think some kind of happened when we were shooting earlier, don't you think?
Now, I will say that. I don't know exactly what happened, like, final hour. But there is some stuff that I did want to highlight that I think we already kind of know about. I think everybody kind of already knows about that. Without further ado, let's see what we're going to get cracking here. First of all, man, thank you guys for coming to join the show. We're going to go ahead get this thing started. I don't know, Stephonn, when your video gets popped up, people be able to see you. He might have to put his do-rag on. We don't know what he's doing. It's just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
he's working on his 90s. His 90s.
He's got that R&B
right. Resume jacket.
Is that a cardigan on or something like that? I don't know. He's got like his slouch. Who's ever in that picture is no longer with him. Obviously, that's all.
Right.
He cropped him the hell out. He must like that picture.
That's his Tinder photo and shit.
He got his R&B soul cardigan on. I don't know, man. Listen, guys. Hey, man. I don't want to cloud on Stephonn's profile, his old MySpace profile pic too long. But let's go ahead get this thing started, man. Yo, man. If you guys didn't already know, Will Anderson signed 3-year, $150 million extension. Big boy. You know, for those that don't know, Will Anderson is the Houston Texans linebacker. One of the things I was going to bring up, man, is Uncle Daddy, I'm going to let you answer this because, you know, I mean, you kind of like that D'Amico Ryan pedigree player.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
Is Will worth the money, man? Is he really worth the money? Wait a minute, hold on. You said that too quick, though.
You seen his body at work?
I have. Is he worth 150 M's, though? Well, technically, we know
is he a game record?
Yes, he is a game
record. He's worth 155 M's.
Oh, so you think he shortchanged it?
I would have gave him a $5 million tip.
So do you think that they're going to be able to, with him signing him, that think they still going to be able to kind of make certain moves moving forward? Because I'm gonna tell you like this, I would have signed him for 155. I ain't even gonna lie. Will Anderson is a good game record for me, but I know they got other pieces on that side of the ball too that's just as talented, especially in their back.
Yeah.
in their
secondary.
Secondary is just nasty, bro. Like
you got to keep him happy.
Y'all see on the beginning of the intro for League Check, I put some Texas boys on there, and my boy that wear the Guardian cap, I like him. I can't pronounce his name to save the life of me. Some of y'all with these names, man. I don't want to say Pinter or Pentry. I can never pronounce his last name, but he
Oh
is
yeah. I know,
somebody.
Jalen Petrie.
I'm sorry.
I think it's Jalen Petrie.
Petrie. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's I knew it wasn't Pinter. I didn't want. I thought it was Petrie, but I will say this is that Will coming out, man, getting that bread. Shout out to him. He's worth every dollar of it. I think him and his agent, because I think he still had like 2 years. I think he might have had 1 or 2 years left on his deal.
I was trying to
So
look that up real quick, so
yeah,
I'm tired of dealing with
from
the
what I
internet.
seen, man, I think he had like yeah, it was like 2 years left on his deal. I will say this though, what does this mean for just as far as his impact for the Texans? I'm gonna let you go with that, Stephon, while you messing around with your camera. If your card, cool. If you're not, I just want to know what you think as far as his impact is for the Texans, because like I said, they got a lot of pieces on that defensive side of the ball, bro.
Yeah, still getting my camera set up, but I will say yes. There's a lot of pieces on that team. When you utilize a second first round pick on an individual, and he is as disruptive as he is, and he does all of the small things and pays attention to the small details on defense on the defensive side of the ball, and you pair that with Daniil Hunter, who you gave an extension. I believe they gave him an extension last year.
Yep,
So you
yep,
pair
they
those two
did.
together. That's one of the best pass rushing duos in NFL. So this is a like Uncle Nick says, it's a no brainer. It's a no brainer. So
Well, I think like this. He is somebody that added with Hunter, added with um Petrie, but then you also bring, I cannot remember my oh boy, I can't pronounce his name. It starts with an L. Um, help me out with it, guys. What the hell is his damn name? He's the cornerback. Um, oh man, what is his name?
Lassiter.
Lassiter. Yeah, I always want to say Lannister, but I knew it wasn't Lannister because I'm thinking of Game of Thrones on that one. But I'm always the type of person where I feel like your front line is always gonna complement your secondary and vice versa. You say if you got a great secondary, it's gonna complement your defensive line. You got a defensive line that's gonna complement your secondary. But when you got the mixture of both, just in them two levels, I ain't even talking about full linebacker movement and how they got what they got there all across the board. They're dangerous. Like we seen what they were able to do last year, and we're gonna talk about somebody else on that Texas team that came out with some of the news that I want you guys to kind of hit on as well. But when you got that perfect mixture on that defensive side of the ball, I think it just it bodes well for future progress as long as you can kind of get pieces to complement those other parts. Now, one thing I will pivot to is that Trent Brown, which I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna be real honest. F Trent Brown. I ain't really a big Trent Brown fan. I don't know, maybe it's because it's the Raider in me. I mean, you suck ass. You came here, say I don't like it, and you left. Cool, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But Trent Brown made some comments, Uncle Daddy,
What that is?
and what he said was, people are too quick to throw away C.J. Stroud, right? People too quick to throw away. And one of the things that they're talking about, obviously, is the fact that C.J. Stroud has underperformed, obviously, since his rookie season. And now murmurs are coming out that they don't know if he's the guy, supposedly. And this is one thing, and I quote. This is what Trent Brown quoted. I expect CJ to get better. Brown said on the set of with Teron Armstead, people be so quick to throw away that they forgot what you done for them. Build the build up, you know what I mean. I expect CJ to get better. I think CJ is going to come in and be even more of a leader than he has been. I think his approach will be different. Me and CJ had discussions probably about a month and a half ago, and talked about the season and what he could be better at. I think this off season is a little different for him, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. So, with that being said, I'm gonna say this to you. I think C.J. Stroud is a good quarterback. I'm not thinking that he is. I don't want to say just having a bad slump. I just think it's just certain aspects that he's got to learn about the NFL that he's still learning. He's been in the league, I believe, 3 seasons now. Was he 3 seasons? Yeah, he's been in the league three
Yeah.
seasons now. And for the most part, man, you look at that team and they're a good football team, right? Yeah, your quarterback play is a little rocky, but if they're expecting CJ Stroud to do exactly what he did year one, I could see where that misconception would come in. But I'm gonna ask you, Uncle Daddy, like, what do you think about CJ Stroud, just as a quarterback and what you know? I kind of know what Stephonn might say, but I'm gonna let him have the floor after you kind of give me your little.
I want to go back to one thing on Will Anderson with the money. Yes, he's a damn good player. But one thing I heard people say, I've heard athletes say this, especially for defensive players, they get really excited when the boys get that money.
Hmm.
And that amps up other guys. So I did want to kind of touch on that. I think the boy's a tremendous talent. With CJ Stroud, listen, I think the boy's a good QB. His offensive line was shit. And that's going to, I don't care who you are. That's going to hamper you at the quarterback play. You can't be a good thrower of the football when you're either on your ass or running for your life. I mean, I don't care who you are. So I know they made the addition of David Montgomery. That should help because the running game wasn't all that last year either. Um, I think they made in free agency. I think they got an offensive lineman. I don't remember who it was, so I don't know how that's going to impact them. But they got to address that offensive line. They got defense. They got, I think, a pretty good offense. You just got to protect that young man and let him go out there and cook.
Yeah, I do agree with that. One thing I will piggyback off of that is that CJ Stroud, man, when you go back and you look at the team that when he first his rookie year, obviously his sophomore year, and then last year, one of the things the pieces that I will say that was missing was the running game. Running game was
Yeah,
kind of inept, right? When
yeah.
Mixon came there, they kind of the offense kind of flowed a little different, right? They
Hmm.
made sure that they could, incorporate the running game, which Joe Mixon was a vital part of their offense. Now, I
Yeah.
will say they
We got
did
Dave
go out
Montgomery.
and they exactly. See,
Yeah.
this is one thing I think a lot of teams or sometimes when they write these I don't even want to say these hateful remarks about him, but you kind of just want to fringe on the fact that he's not looking as good. Well, what all happened? Like you said, his offensive line wasn't that good. I think partially too last year them having to trying to figure out a running situation because the
100%.
lack of Joe Mixon being there really hurt him his growth as well.
And then
You know,
when the wide receivers a little dinged up as well.
that's another thing. They
Yeah.
you Tank Dell can't stay on the field, man. Hell, he's getting more tattoos and he's getting yardage. Hell, I think he got more tattoos and got catches in the past few years. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. But I
Yeah.
will say that, because I just pulled up CJ Stroud stats, right? And I'm looking at 2023 season. He had a 63% completion rate. He had 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks, right? The next season, um, he had a 63% completion rating. He threw for 3,727 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And then you look at last year, he had a 64% completion rate, 3,000 yards, 3,041 yards, 19 TDs, 8 picks. So somebody's gonna look at that and say, "Oh, he had a down year." Well, there's a few things that go into that. One, he didn't play the whole season. I do know
Right.
that. Two, his wide receiving core was not there. I don't even think Tank Dell's played a full 2 seasons yet. I know last year he was injured, and I know he got. I mean, not last year, but the previous year he was injured as well. So I think C.J. Stroud needs a little bit of grace as far as production. They're still a good football team. They're still going to build around him. They still know that obviously they've been making the playoffs since he's been there. So, yeah, on the outside looking in, you're looking at somebody that's not. I guess they want to figure that he's not matching his draft status. And that's another conversation for another time when you talk about draft status of players and your expectations of what they're supposed to be. Because they expect numbers wise to look different.
Well, hold on. He did he go to the playoffs 3 out of 4 years of it
No,
since he's been in the league?
again, no, that's what I'm saying though. Yeah, he went to the playoffs, but if you don't have that defense, do they make the playoffs? That's what people are gonna say.
That's I can say that. I can say no. I can say no, but I can say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah, but you're looking at it in the facet of you have a top ranked defense though. Let's just say they were middle of the pack. They weren't top 10. They were 20. Do they make the playoffs? We don't know.
Has Joe Burrow's defense been that good?
Yeah, but it's Joe Burrow. Well, see now you're comparing an apple to an orange in some aspect.
Well, no,
Because
but no, I'm comparing defenses.
what I'm saying is Joe Burrow put up points. C.J. Stroud to go out there and throw for 140 yards, no touchdowns, and they'll kick field goals all day. Joe Burrow's gonna match you point for point. You see what I'm saying? But
Agreed.
you in the sense of if I threw Joe Burrow right now with how that team is, and I just implant Joe Burrow into the
Shit,
offense,
you're going to the Super Bowl.
right? So at this point in the context is like, let's just it's everybody can't be a Joe Burrow type player, and even then, Joe Burrow gets hurt as well, right?
Right.
So for me,
I guess
that's
I
what
was more comparing to I wasn't really trying to compare Joe Burrows as per se. I was more or less saying their defense. So I think a lot of teams don't make the damn playoffs with some of these QBs without the defense. So
facts.
I think CJ Stroud gets an unfair jacket hung on him sometimes because he was the top pick. And I don't think that's fair to these young men sometimes. I really don't.
Yeah, but you know how this goes, man.
I just think some of these people are looking for rage bait or clickbait when they're throwing out these damn scenarios, and they know damn well they can't get off the couch and do what that young man does. So
yeah, exactly.
If that's what you need to make a conversation, that's fine. But I don't think it's fair. I think C.J. Stroud is a stand-up young man. Didn't he come to Kansas City and give the Chiefs a lot to handle? I mean, played in the cold. I remember the boys suffering that damn cold weather.
I'll say this. I will say C.J. Stroud played very well when he came here. I'm not saying
that's fair.
Lit it up, but that defense, their defense is lights out, bro. I'm sorry. It's just
it is, and it travels.
I can't give C.J. Stroud a ton of credit for all of their success. I will give him credit for being able to manage the game, keep the chains moving when it need be. But is there things he got to work on? Of course. Like, why? I mean, that's the only thing I got about certain reporters and how they report things about players is that we start to get to this notion of, oh, he's not like this player. Well, everybody's not going to be like that player. You know what I'm saying? Like, C.J. Stroud was obviously, and even going out, you're going to look at that. When we look at C.J. Stroud in the situation is where he was drafted, and a lot of people felt like he should have been the number one pick over Bryce Young. Well, me personally, I understand why some people feel that way. You know what I mean? But in context, man, when you go look at both of these guys, one has been in the playoffs 3 seasons. His all ever since he was drafted. One just got in the playoffs. So what are we really looking at? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't know. I was gonna let Stephonn chime in. If you're able to chime in, bro, go ahead, because I kind of want to get your opinion about this as well, as far as these two guys and what you think as far as the totality and what you can actually, chime in and say what you think about it, because I know for a fact that you feel a little differently about C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, especially you being a Panthers fan as well, knowing the fact that, you got Bryce Young, but C.J. Stroud, what do you see? Like, even if you feel like C.J. Stroud's a better player, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So, the floor is yours.
I mean, you and I had this conversation plenty of times, bro, and I would say that C.J. Stroud took a step back last year. And I think the difference between him and Bryce Young is as Bryce Young played, you consistently saw improvements on his play. CJ Stroud started off on a high and then progressively went lower and lower as his career has gone on. So I will say players tend to show you who they are around the third or fourth year. Um, with that being said, the Texans have surrounded him with as much talent as possible, especially in the offensive line. I do disagree with you, Uncle Daddy, that they didn't give him an offensive line. They gave him what they could, but when you see CJ Stroud playing, especially in that playoff game, he got flustered very early, very quickly, and was
That's true.
making uncharacteristic mistakes that his defense was bailing him out of. Um, I'm not gonna say he's not the guy, right? But I will say be cautious in how much money you're paying him, and be cautious in how you're gonna schedule that or how you're gonna construct that contract, because when you're paying your quarterback, you're saying undoubtedly like this is my guy, this is the guy we're going with. This is the guy that no matter what, he's going to lead us to the promised land. This is the guy we think that's going to be the franchise guy. Personality wise, he got it. How he carries himself, he got it. He stays out of trouble. He's a believer in God. He's like that poster boy of a franchise guy of who you want representing your franchise, but the play on the field hasn't reflected as of recent. So, yeah, man.
Hey, Steph, I got a question for you. Would other teams not want CJ Stroud?
You have to tell me which team though. Like, are you talking about like let's say
Indianapolis Colts?
No, they would rather have Daniel Jones right now.
Okay.
I kind of feel what you're saying about the offensive line. I do think though the way that the team is orchestrated, CJ Stroud wasn't supposed to be like. I'm not saying he wasn't supposed to be the franchise guy, but like he wasn't supposed to come in and do monumental, life changing things. Like I didn't expect him to come out here and just light the league up by storm. And I'm only saying that in regard because I used to have this stigma about, which I kind of still do, about Ohio State quarterbacks. Now right now they wide receiver you. They do put quarterbacks in the NFL, but I'm just saying in that regard, I think when you put somebody like C.J. Stroud in an offense, you have to build around him. I don't think he's the type where you can kind of lack on a defensive side and still think you're going to be progressively better down the road, unless he starts taking major leaps. Right? He's got to take monumental leaps to do something. In the essence of where you brought up Bryce Young, right? The thing was Bryce Young, he had to go through the growing pains, sit his ass on the bench. Like people, like I just heard the other night, the Bobby Knight said the best motivator is your ass sit riding that pine.
Yeah, he said that a lot.
Motivator, right? And the reason why I like that is it just it teaches you something like, yo, this game will love you, but it is not forgiving when you a fuck up, right? Get your shit together, stay focused, and when your coaching staff, and I will put this in the argument as well, your organization as far as your coaching staff has to be locked in with you as well. You got to have that understanding rapport with them, and I think for the situation of CJ Stroud, he's got that. It's just they like, hey man, we got to see a little bit more. There were inconsistencies to his game last year. That's without a doubt. And we can't just blame receivers all the time. Although when you got your number one guy out, it does hurt a little bit. We can see that with any quarterback and his wide receivers. I think when losing Tank Dell, trying to bring in this guy and that guy. You remember they tried bringing in Stephon Diggs. They went out and Christian Kirk. They're pulling him, and these guys are good, but do they really fit the scheme of what they're trying to do offensively? D'Amico Ryans is a genius. I'm gonna say genius on that defensive side. That man got me anytime. Listen, D'Amico Ryans so cold now. Anytime I see a tip interception, tips and overthrows, we gotta get those. I say that shit forever now. Like that's implementation that I love about him on that defensive side of the ball. But I also think offensively, we got to figure that out. So that was the one thing I really thought about when Trent Brown said it. It's like, hey, look, CJ Stroud got a new haircut too. So I don't know. I guess they think, to me, it don't ever bode well when you cut your hair.
You
All right,
look like Bryce.
that I wasn't gonna say it, but I will
Hey,
say
hey,
that.
Steph, I know we got to move on. What would you do if he was in Carolina? Would the results be the same?
That's a good question. That
I
is
used
a
I use
good
Indiana. I
question.
use Indiana
That is
strategically.
a good question. I'm
I
sorry.
use Indiana strategically, but I
That's
I
a
want to back
good
that up and say
question. I want to hear this one.
swap those two QBs out on what you got now.
Swap those two QBs out, and I'd say the Texans are probably in the AFC Championship game with Bryce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their rookie seasons, my brother can attest to this. Their rookie seasons, I was livid at getting Bryce Young, and I was like, man, we need to switch him up. We need to switch him up. But when you take a deeper look at the way the rosters were constructed, you take into the fact that the Panthers traded away their best defensive player, or I'm sorry, their best offensive wide receiver, plus 2 first-round picks and some other picks as well, without constructing that roster. Like Ray Rob said earlier, all depends on your roster construction and building around that quarterback. So CJ Stroud stepped into a ready-made roster with an established head coach and an established offensive system and offensive weapons. And mind you, they had Joe Mixon at that time too, when Joe Mixon was, in his prime. So you drop both quarterbacks in 2 different environments.
Well, you're kind of being slick and dodging the question as best as you can.
What do you mean?
Have you ever seen the show Wife Swap?
Yes.
They don't go back through history. They just swap out wives.
If we swapped out this year with the way Bryce performed and the way CJ Stroud performed, I would say Bryce Young would have them at least at bare minimum in the AFC Championship game. They probably would have won if they'd won against the Broncos. And I'll say with the Panthers, we still probably would have won the NFC South, just because that's how bad the NFC South was last year. So you're winning at the dang near almost below 500 record.
Okay.
I didn't like 9-8 or whatever, but you swap them, they're both still making the playoffs. It's just the result is CJ Stroud's not being talked about, or Bryce Young will be more talked about as a premier quarterback, as a franchise guy, like he is now. He'd be talked about that with the Texans his rookie year, because you even see with some of Bryce's throws, they're on point. He can fit within any scheme. You just got to give him a scheme consistency, and you got to give him something. When he has something, i.e. Tedero McMillan, he helped Tedero McMillan become Offensive Rookie of the Year. When you finally gave him weapons, we made the playoffs. When we had an efficient defense, which our defense was like, 15th or 16th, you give him the Texans defense, he's in the playoff instantly. And like I said, they're probably either in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. You give them Nico Collins, Higgins, and that roster that they even had last year. But to that point, I'm just jumping back to the main part we were talking about. Like with CJ Stroud, I think this is his year to prove it, or for them to say, hey, we need to move on, because they gave him an offensive line. They went and got Wyatt Teller. They went and got Braden Smith. They locked up Essery. Like, he has an efficient offensive line now. So there is, pending any injuries, there is no real excuse for CJ Stroud to fail this year. Like, even because, Nico Collins coming back, I'll probably say they need to add one or two more receivers, and then they went and got David Montgomery. So you add Montgomery to Woody Marks, who showed flashes last year. This is CJ Stroud's make it or break it year. So if he doesn't perform this year, I honestly say trade him, go draft a quarterback. Next year's quarterback class is the best of the best.
Well, so I'll say this, and that's where I want to touch base real quick about Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud again before we move on, because you said something about Bryce earlier, and me and Uncle Nick had talked about this in the previous show, on the Raider Nation podcast. We were talking about how Bryce had, when they jumped up, Carolina jumped up to get him, right? So they had to give up some significant draft capital to get him. meaning they had to give up a wide receiver one and a draft pick, right? So
Multiple draft.
multiple
Definitely.
draft picks. So for that, you put Bryce behind the eight ball,
Yes.
right? CJ Stroud comes in and you got ushered in, and I'll say this too, even for the
Hang on,
Ravens.
bro. Hang on. Breaking news. Breaking news, bro. Breaking news.
What we got?
Center with 5 sleeps until the NFL draft, and we've got a big trade. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Giants are trading 3-time Pro Bowler Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals in exchange for the number 10 pick in this year's draft.
So, Stephonn, Branch Huddle, you did have breaking news right now about Dexter Lawrence, which was getting ready to be the pivot right to us, and seems like we already got that put out there. Seems that he was traded to the mother effing Cincinnati Bengals.
Love it.
I don't like it.
I do. Well, I love the fact that they're actually showing Joe Burrow that they're taking it seriously about building a defense. Would I have traded the number 10 pick? No, I wouldn't have.
Because he's what, 7 years in? 7 years
I
in,
mean,
right?
he's still young. I think he's like 25 or 26,
Yeah,
but
he's
it's just the fact
26.
that like you don't have enough cap space as it is, bro.
I don't. Hey, they love kicking that can down the road, man. I'm telling you right now. They wanted to keep Higgins and Chase. Whatever. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen at some point. Like, you're not
Somebody
gonna keep doing it.
Structuring it, like you said, keep kicking the can down the road until they got to just start.
The only person that they gonna really ask to restructure that's gonna probably do it is Joe Burrow. That's it.
Yeah.
Because nobody else. They're not gonna. That's the reason why they got rid. They got from underneath Mixon.
Yeah.
I know they wanted to keep Higgins and Chase, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But yo, man, that's major though for them in that division, dog. Like, adding him helps, but I think they still need a little bit more pieces. Adding him does help though.
Agreed.
Adding him does help. It's a major move for the Cincinnati Bengals, man, to do that. Breaking news right here on League Check. We got it out here. Y'all heard it. We got that's nuts, man, because I was literally thinking of some of the potential suitors. And he was the Bengals wasn't even number one. It was like the Bears. They threw the Raiders in there. I can't remember. It was another team that I did see that I thought made some noise. I made a.
Hey, I got a question for Steph because I want to make sure I understood him correctly. You said you would not have done that for the number 10 pick?
I wouldn't have traded for Dexter Lawrence for the number 10 pick, no.
Okay. Do you not consider him a game wrecker? Is it the position or is it what is it?
I think it's the position versus need versus cap space.
Okay.
So my biggest thing is cap. You already kind of behind the eight ball on, you know what I'm saying, like your cap, because you're gonna have to start paying. You know what I'm saying? Burrow, like bro, you're gonna kick the can down so far. You got Burrow on a good deal, Higgins on a good deal, Chase on a good deal. You're gonna have to pay Chase Brown eventually. That's coming up. And then, you know what I'm saying, you got defensive players that you gotta pay. Granted, is Dexter Lawrence could he be a game wrecker? Yeah, most definitely. But like from a defensive tackle position, he's not like a Max Crosby type game wrecker where.
So I like to use a couple of different terms. I like a couple of different terms here. Max Crosby's a game wrecker. I think Dexter Lawrence, sexy Dexy, whatever they call him, he's more of a game disruptor. And there is a difference, you know. Game disruptors to me have a tendency to be kind of a one-trick pony. They stuff the run. You know, they can lock down a receiver, whatever. Where a game wrecker, defensive coordinators are up all night planning for their ass. So if I'm the Bengals, especially being that they lost Trey Hendrickson, whatever the hell his name is, I'm being a little disrespectful with his name right now because I guess he was a part of the whole shit with the Ravens, who I'm kind of pissed off at still. But however, that's a different show. But I actually like I like it for the Bengals. I think that's really going to help. I need to look up. I kind of forgot who's on the defensive line, but I do think I think he's going to be not a good replacement for boy, but I think that helps their defense tremendously.
I got you, brother. So it's right now. It's because they went and got Jonathan Allen from Minnesota.
Mhm.
That's okay. Yeah, I knew it was somebody they grabbed. Yeah,
They
yeah.
got Dexter Lawrence and Boye Mafe, and then they
Mafe,
went
yeah.
after Brian Cook from Kansas City. Those are their defensive additions, which, like I said, kudos to them for improving their defense. I have nothing against that. However, at number 10, Caleb Downs could have been available. Ruben Bain could have been available.
You taking Ruben Banks over Sexy Dexy?
For need, yes, I am. Because you got Murphy Miles, who's probably gonna need a contract extension here pretty soon. And so if he blows up, you pay him over $100 million. You pay Boye Mafe. You got Shamar Stewart, who didn't live up to the holdout that he did for them all off season over some contract language. You went and got Jonathan Allen, so you already kind of had a defensive stalwart, a defensive tackle to play that position that you had needed. And so you add Dexter Lawrence. I'm not saying Dexter Lawrence is a bad addition. What I'm saying is giving up the number 10 pick and having to pay him that money, you now are like kind of handicapping your team down the road. Now you have to be like, okay, now we have to draft perfect. Or the rest of the draft needs to be going.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
this is going to totally contradict what I kind of said in the previous show. So hopefully nobody asks me. I still can't believe you'll take Tyrannosaurus arms over Sexy Dexy. And I'm a Bane fan, so I'm sorry I said that.
I don't pay attention to measurements. I look at film. That's the problem. Everybody, and when I say this all the time. I say everyone looks.
No, I gave him mad props earlier.
Yeah, everyone looks for a reason not to draft you because like they see a talent and they're like, okay, he looks good, he looks perfect, but what's wrong with him? And so I think a lot of teams are trying to talk themselves out of Ruben Bain and trying to be like, oh, his arms are too short, so he's not going to be able to be successful. Man, watch that man play.
Oh yeah. I've been a fan of him all year, man. So only reason I said it.
About football, and that's what you want. You want somebody who comes, eats, sleeps, and breathes football because that's all you're going to do to improve.
And let me just say this one thing. I agree with you. People get hung up in the numbers sometimes, but I will say this: taking a proven NFL player in entering his prime, I'm gonna always take that over a rookie. Now that's my person. That's just me putting my GM hat on and not being a fan. I'm gonna always take that player entering his prime over a rookie. And I get it. Everybody wants to, do the new thing of ride the rookie contracts or whatnot. I think that's gonna start biting a lot of GMs and owners in the ass eventually. But me personally, I'm just saying me. If I'm the Bengals and I can get that for that number 10 spot, yeah, I'm probably taking Bain and deal with the contract later. Shit, the damn salary cap goes up every year any damn way, so they'll figure that shit out. That's what the finance guys are for.
But I will say it does make sense for the Bengals only because the Bengals are really bad at drafting defensive players.
They really are.
Things where you're like, yeah, you can give the number 10 pick, but my biggest thing is just the cap, bro. Like you're gonna be cap strapped here pretty soon. Like, and I also have to see how the contract's constructed to see if it like kind of offsets the ups of Chase and Higgins and Burrow's deals. So I think you just gotta wait till the contract details come out. But for me, just for me personally, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on that trade. I might have given them 2 twos. I'll give you a 2 this year and a 2 next year. Yeah. Give me that.
That wouldn't have been bad. But so, they're trying to win now.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's the win now move.
Win now mode.
Yeah.
That's just a win now move to me, But hey, I like the addition.
Yeah,
I've kind of always liked the Bengals low key, but let's see.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say too, Uncle Daddy, is that they look like they are in a win now type mode, like just even trying to bring in pieces that I could say. I don't want to say you trying to shop retail and see what you can get that would surpass what you paid them, because you might have just a 2 to 3 year window where you're trying to get the maximum out these players that you got, and from there, then you might have to just start the rebuild as far as bringing in new pieces, because you've seen them try different things as far as bringing in offensive tackles, obviously bringing in letting running backs go, keeping this guy, letting this other guy, not paying this guy, fighting with, for me, I'll say they definitely are trying to win now. because
Yeah.
let's be honest, they see in their own division there's a shakeup right
Yeah.
now, and they're trying to
Yeah.
maximize that, and I could get that,
Or at least
and
counter react.
yeah, at least at some point, man, you gotta try, you gotta swing. I will say this, I do agree with bro when he said that number 10 pick, that's a hard one, but I think they feel like we trying to win now, and whoever they feel like they could have got at that 10th, they might not felt like they would have been that game changer that they would need currently right now, year 1 and 2. If
That's
they
Because
true.
would,
you're trying to trust a rookie. You're trying to trust a rookie to come in and be a game changer
yeah. Well, and
instead of
here's
just
the
proven
thing,
commodity.
that can happen. It's just you got to let that progress into that, and they might come in and just wreck shop. I mean, it could. Let's just say they were able to get Bang, and he came in and he was better than what Lawrence could have been. I mean, that could happen, but I feel like they know they have tape on Lawrence. They know what he can do. We're willing to risk this 10th pick this year to give you guys and move and see where we go from there. So shout out to Lawrence getting that, man. Like, man, I really wanted to see if we could make something happen. Pretty much figured that we weren't. Um, that would have been a splash play for the Raiders, but then again, it been too much shit for us, man. They been like, all right, y'all doing too much. So, hey, man,
Absolutely.
moving on. Shout out to him. One thing I did want to talk about, speaking of somebody else, Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward. I don't know what I think Cam Hayward's been a little too much into the sauce. And you guys tell me if he's tripping or not. Cam Hayward comes out and says he had a message for Aaron Rodgers. And I don't like the way he said it. Just return, baby. Like, hey, man, don't steal my shit. Okay?
Right.
Don't steal my shit. Cam Hayward's want Aaron Rodgers to come back, Uncle Nick. What do you think? Think AR got one more in him? Or is this it's time to hang it up? Because right now he ain't, as far as I know, he don't went dark. He's probably in some backwood, you know, got a
With the
got
Hushka and shit.
menthol under his nose and getting smacked on the back with leaves from a shaman or something. I don't know what's going on, but he actually did say, he said he's worn the black and gold, just return, baby. He said it on the Rich Eisen show that that's all we need. I think he had fun. He had fun time being a part of this crew, and we really enjoyed his company. He liked for him to return running back. Now
Well, I
Cam
can
Hayward's
understand.
been in the league for 14, 15 seasons, so
I can understand why he says that because there ain't nobody else to get.
Right, true. Yeah,
I mean,
there could have been people they could have got, but
100% correct. 100% correct.
it seems
So
like the Steelers were waiting. I don't know if I want to say they were waiting on AR, but the fact that Tomlin's out and McCarthy's in, I think the assumption was AR was going to return. Um, I feel like under McCarthy, AR's got the same type of mode that he would probably have with Tomlin. McCarthy's not going to
well, he
switch up
is
like
who he is. Aaron Rodgers is gonna come in and do what he wants to do, practice how he wants to practice, throw how he wants to throw, all of that. And he knows when you all I got, he can take his time on when he wants to make the decision, come back in, do whatever. So I don't see no other QB being there. Do they draft the QB? I think they will.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask. You think they're going to draft a QB?
I think they will. I can't remember the backup they have. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I want to say Townsend or something like that. I see him probably drafting a QB. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. If you can't get
Right
your
now,
hands on,
they're going into the season with Will Howard and
Will Howard. Thank you. That's what I meant. Will Howard. Yeah.
another, dang, I forgot to do his name just as that. So the dang, what's that quarterback's name, boy? That is gonna bother me.
Rudolph.
Mason, yeah, Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph.
Yeah,
Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah,
Mason Jar Rudolph.
Will Howard, and we all know Aaron Rodgers is coming back, right? He just kind of holding out, playing it up a little bit because he's not going to take this long to tell him he's not coming back. he's not gonna go through draft night without telling him he's coming back. And
Yeah.
depending on how they do this draft, will let you know if they are if he's coming back or not. Because if they take Ty Simpson at 21, if he's there and they take him, that mean he's not coming back.
Really?
If they go position, like a different position, like offensive line or
like
defensive line,
which they need,
he's coming back.
Yeah, I like that. I think for the most part they could transition to the quarterback for next year's draft or something like that. And then
I actually think they should have made a run at their homeboy. I can't remember his name. Back up out of Green Bay. I thought that would have been a good fit for them. Malik Willis.
I don't think Malik Willis fits. I don't think
McCarthy.
He's a good fit.
Yeah,
I don't think he fits. I don't think he fits the Steelers.
Yeah,
I don't think he fits the Steelers. I don't think he's a good fit at all. I think when you look at the Steelers and you kind of go back and you look, they run a organization a certain way, and their prototypical quarterbacks are not Malik Willis style quarterbacks. They're not. That's not what they do. Will Howard, on the other hand, maybe, but I don't think if they want AR back, they just feel like maybe Will Howard's not the guy to be able to be a starting quarterback for them. Maybe a good fill-in piece. I don't know. I think if they're wanting Aaron Rodgers back, they're gonna probably be looking for someone next year because this year's draft, I don't think they want to pick up a quarterback. I don't think they do, but I could be wrong about that. I also do know that they had to make different strides, especially with the receiving group. You let George.
Hey Rob, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. We talked about this before. Is that one of Kyle's spot tech got to move up to that first to get Fernando?
No, it wasn't him.
I don't think so. No. Just throwing it out there though.
No, it wasn't. They Steelers weren't one of them. I did go look up, and one of them was the Jets. The other one
of course it was.
It was speculated that was Miami, but that's yet to be determined. But again, the Steelers got other holes they could fill this year. I think they need to add more depth at wide receiver. Definitely, that was one of the key problems I think that they had last year was just, hey man, I'm not saying I'm not a DK Metcalf fan. I think he's a good player, but DK Metcalf is severely inconsistent to be considered a top wide receiver. He's not somebody that's going to put up numbers, and for his size, speed, and ability, he's underperforming that I feel. But the Steelers feel like he's a good player. The thing is when he's going, he's lights out. But when he's not, he's out there. You be like, did he play today? Like then you don't even realize like yeah he did. It's just he's not always somebody you can rely on. So I think the Steelers got to do other things this draft other than worry about a quarterback. Like, but I will say what bro said. If they go and get somebody like a Ty Simpson, Aaron Rodgers ain't coming back. And they're probably want to know like now if he's coming back. Like,
well, you got to wake his ass up.
Yeah, they got to go find him. They got to go back in the backwoods and go see where he's at. Because when you look at AR's numbers, man, they're not too far off from guys that are starting in the league right now. I mean, last year he had over 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. The year before that, he had 3,800 yards in the 2024 season. He had 3,800 yards. Well, I'm sorry, with the Jets, he had 3,800 yards and 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. Of course, he didn't play the 2023 season because of the Achilles injury, but he maintains a certain level of being able to do what he can do. I believe that's the reason why they could be successful with him because he knows how to play the game of football. It's almost like him and Joe Flacco. These guys know how to play football. Yeah, they old. They the OGs just coming out there, not fast, but they still got an arm. They still got a mind to be able to transition on the field. So, AR being there. Hey, listen. I was a Green Bay Packer AR fan. All right. After that, he's just to me. It's just like he took that Brett Favre route. Like now he's just being he's just the guy you call off the couch every now and again, sling the old ball around. It's like one of those replacement movies. They calling him up like, "We need you, boss." He's out there in the oil fields working like, "All right," and then he loses. He just like gets himself together. So yeah, starts rolling the shoulder up, throwing it like, "All right, I still got it," and see where he's at. So, hey man, if AR come back, shout out. It's one of the things I feel like um, will be beneficial for Pittsburgh right now, but in the future they gotta find something else, man. But hey, man, listen. This is something else I want to talk to you guys about, and it has somebody else to do within that division that was in that division. Now, it was reported. Now, I want to read this so you guys can chime in. Zay Flowers believes Harbaugh's practices led to the Ravens' persistent injuries. The load was heavy. That's the exact quote that he said. So I'm gonna tell you what he said though. This is quoted right from the Fourth and Short podcast. He said full pads all the time. Full pads all the time. Flowers said during their appearance on Fourth and Short podcast, hosted by Jarvis Landry and Leonard Fournette. However, many practices and pads you can get every single one. We're doing one-on-ones in week 17. We're doing one-on-ones. Everybody's out there. We're tired, but we're still going. Um, so he's just basically saying, so for those who don't know, because of the CBA agreement between the NFL and the players, they can only have so many padded practices. And it's already noted that a lot of times players will tell you these coaches don't even use all their padded practices because load management. Harbaugh doesn't coach like that. Harbaugh want all this chicken. All right. He making sure y'all get all this work. And Zay believes that led to injuries that they sustained last year. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that about Harbaugh because now we know Harbaugh is now in New York. He's got some young guys. He's got a lot of young toys out there. What do we think? Do we think this is just smoke, or we think this is just Zay just talking? Because I kind of got my opinion, but I want to hear from you guys. Stephon, I'll start with you.
Players talk too much, bro. You're talking too much, bro. Talk about that stuff when you retire. Don't
Thank
talk
you.
about it now. Like
Agreed.
that's the problem with social media and everybody having access to a microphone. You putting out this information, it's like, bro, locker room stuff need to stay in the locker room. Like Charles Barkley and Shaq and them was all saying on Inside the NBA, like, bro, stop talking, bro. Like, and the thing is, and I know why Harbaugh did it because Harbaugh he was coaching for his job in Baltimore at that time, and he felt like his team was being too soft. So he was like, man, I need to toughen y'all up. Y'all need to get it together because honestly, when you really think about it, a lot of their mental mistakes caused them to lose to Kansas City. They had that game won. Say Flowers fumbling on the 1 yard line, getting too passionate, got out of his head, and caused them to lose that game. Lamar Jackson acting uncharacteristic, running scared, and then like when they did their quarterback sneak, he broke free, and you saw him start to slow down, and you looking at that live, and you like, Lamar, I know you faster now. Why are you running like that? And so it's just a lot of mental mistakes on that team, and just the inconsistencies and them. Essentially, he's basically calling them soft. He was calling that team soft, saying like, I need y'all to perform. So we're gonna keep doing these one-on-one practices, more padded practices to make sure y'all toughen up. Did that contribute to injuries? It could be, but injuries happen in the NFL. It's a physical sport. It could happen. It could happen regardless of the practices or not. But yeah, man, my biggest pet peeve is like, bro, just be quiet. He gone. You got a new coach now. Don't talk about stuff no more. Don't talk about what's going on right now. Talk about it when you retire, and people can talk about it after the fact because that's what retired players do. They talk about stuff that happened afterwards. Yeah, man, some players threw some hands in the locker room. Coaches was throwing hands. It's past tense, which means those people are all done with their careers at that time. Right. Which means you're not affecting what's going on now. Now, Harbaugh's gonna get investigated. They can look into it, blah blah blah, or they're not going, and it makes unnecessary news. And you're just like, Zay, just be quiet, bro, because now your other players gonna be looking at you like, bro, if I say something here, you gonna say it on the podcast. You gonna keep it quiet, bro. So it's like, Keep locker room stuff in the locker room, man. Just chill out. That's what I say.
Okay, same thing for you, Uncle Daddy. What do you
In my AI voice, what are we talking about? Practice? I
think?
agree with Steph, man. These players talk too damn much, man. Listen,
Yeah,
Harbaugh's the old school coach.
yeah, yeah,
He said, "Fuck that damn players association.
yeah.
Y'all soft. Let's go on this practice how you play, and let's go out here and get it."
Right.
And young man, you ain't put up a thou yet, has he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
yeah, yeah.
He
Zay put
did.
up with that.
My bad. Okay.
Yeah, Zay put
Well,
up a thou.
that shot away what I was about to say, but I don't think he's been. I don't think he's been in the league yet to be out there flopping. I mean, popping about the coach, man. Just get out there and prove yourself on the field, and don't worry about it. You're under a new regime. If y'all go out there and do better, then say that shit. Maybe 5 or 10 years down the line when you either retired or close to retirement. But to say it now that the man's out the door, I think that's unfair. And I don't know if there's any evidence or science that proves practicing in pads get you injured more.
Right. I think so. So just to clarify, I don't think he violated any CBA rules. I just think that he maximized what the CBA allowed him to do, and in other organizations they don't maximize
It
what
brought
they allow you to
unnecessary. It's
practice.
bringing in unnecessary exposure. Wouldn't you agree?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it's I think it's bringing the exposure that he and what Stephon just said. He's kind of talking too much because what he's saying is, man, he got us practicing too much. No, he's got you practicing within the guidelines of what he's able to do. He wants to
Right.
maximize that because he feels like, hey, because we do know the reports came out last year. They started taking all the extracurricular stuff that they had around the building out. They started removing stuff because they wanted to get them mentally back to like where they need to be. And
Good. It's not a recreational area. It's a
well,
it's a
well,
practice facility.
and from that, and even from that, you can get a little comfortable within yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just players, but I will say this. Um, in that hindsight, I think there's a shift. I think there's a shift with coaching styles, and I think it's been happening. I think it's going to happen. I think that the old school mental games that coaches used to play a lot aren't as necessary because the game is so much more business now that these guys
Absolutely.
it's kind of like and I don't want to pivot to that, but it's kind of like in certain aspects of NBA, you supposed to coaches didn't worry about, well, not even NBA. I'm sorry. Older coaches. Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson coached two different ways. They coached two different ways. Jimmy Johnson was beat your ass and practice every day. Barry Switzer was you better come in shape because
Right.
I'm expecting you to be a grown man about it. That's where I think that the coaching styles may differ a little bit. It's kind of like you pick what you want to have. You want to have a coach that's hard on you, and some guys need to be coached like that. I'm not saying that what Harbaugh's coaching style is wrong. I just think for the personnel that's coming in, there has to be a different shift as far as coaching with certain guys. You got to coach. You can't. You Uncle Nick, you a Nick Saban
Absolutely. Disciple.
savant. He always says you can't coach everybody the same way. And I
Yep.
think for Harbaugh, he has to adjust that a little bit. And if you go to see that in certain coaches in the NFL, that works sometimes. We've seen it with the New York Giants with under Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin coached a certain way. It was not resonating with the players. He adjusted and got the best out of them. So for me, what Zay saying is kind of like counterproductive because you're saying, "Oh, he was too hard on us." Well, maybe you need to be somebody need to be hard on you because I'm gonna tell you straight up, like Stephon just said, his mental focus is not all the way there. When you go back to that
Right.
AFC Championship game and what happened in that game, his mental focus was not there. There were key points in that game that hurt the Ravens, and it was due
Mm-hmm.
not just for the whole team, but specifically Zay Flowers. Right? Those things have to be highlighted because, and I have to get better. So for me, I think that Zay Flowers is talking too much, and I think he needs to stay focused on Mentor being there. I believe in it, their head coach now, Mentor.
Yeah.
Mentor come in and focus on that. Don't focus on the facts. See, and that's another thing. What you just said, you talking too much. You too worried about what the hell Harbaugh did and what you ain't got and what you got now. So stay in that course of that because Zay might need to be somebody that has to get pointed out and singled out. I mean, so he could play better. Now it was said that maybe your boy Lamar has something to do with Harbaugh wanting to get out. Maybe he's saying something that Lamar was saying. I don't know. But that could be it. Lamar ain't going to say it, right? Well, Lamar's not going to single anybody out. He might say little tidbits here and there that might insinuate like, yo, dude going too hard with us. You know what I'm saying? So that could be something. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it ain't. I think that in due time we'll find out more, especially after we see how they play this season. But that's something that I just thought about, and I was like, man, let me see what y'all thought about this because I like Zay Flowers, man. I think he's a good talent. I'm not super high on him as far as where he's gonna be as far as like player wise. Is he gonna be a pro bowler? I don't really know. I know he has the ability to get 1,000-yard guy. I know that he's electric. I'll say this. If he was on the Raiders, I would love him on the Raiders. But with the shit that goes on here and there, man, with some of the stuff that you guys talk about, he's not really somebody that I like doing shit like that. I'm a person like keep that locker room stuff in the locker room, especially when your coach is gone. Now, after you retired, you can say whatever you want. We always find out more things after guys are done and their careers are done, even when coaches retire, that they tend to be more vocal about their situations and what happened. So, Zay Flowers, man, respectfully, shut the hell up, bro. Just play football, dog. Do your thing,
Right.
man. Just keep playing football and go from there. So,